All right, so let's say I wanted to put a skirt on this character. How would I do it? So I'd probably use tube, path, and it's gonna be a little weird at first. Take the path, and you want it going from like where the skirt is gonna be, like the waist. So we're gonna make the line there. I'll kind of put this in the waist. I know it looks strange. We'll add a little bend to it. Next, I would take the radius and I would make this side more skirt-like, obviously. And I'm going to bend this a little bit. And this is going to be where the waist of the skirt would be, or the dress, I should say. I'll make it a little wider so that it starts to make a little bit more sense. And again, it's a tube, so you can add more nodes if you need. Okay, so roughly something like this. We'll make this part a little bit more wide. Okay, so then I would tap hole, so that will make a hole in the tube. And then I would change the topology by going to these 3 dots, and I'd change the post subdivision and just put it up, maybe even 4 times, just give it a lot of topology. So you notice this blue dot here. So let's hit solo. So the blue dot here, obviously it adjusts the edges of the hole. So let's press it twice so that both of them, so we can control this part and this part. So we might want to make this part a little bit thinner out here, but something like that is good. And I want this hole smaller than the waist. That way it doesn't look like there's space against the body. So let's hit solo again. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit validate. So now we'll just take move and just move things over the body so that it makes sense, and away from things so that it makes sense. So there's a finger here. So we'll move the dress in there. We can take drag as well. Drag is a little less fluid, so it'll help you move things when you really need to just get it out of the way. I'll go back to move and just kind of move all these parts out. I'll move this up a little bit just so it's kind of has a little bit of a head start, and then I'll take drag and just drag this part up. Again, like I was saying, drag is really good when you just need to get it out of there, instead of doing like nice sweeping smooth movements. Maybe even coming a little further out on the foot. And here's another thing that I do often. Let's say I don't want it to be, that looks good, but let's say I want it to not curve like this, but curve the opposite way. I'll pull it out like that and then just press down on the top and kind of continue to do that and kind of press down. So then you get a different kind of curve versus the other. Pretty good. So there's a few design things that you might want to do with this. Obviously you can take move or drag, and you can sort of make details like this. You know, if your dress has something. Again, this is all just kind of manual details. If you want it to be more flat, you can just take flatten, and you can sort of give it a nicer edge here with the flatten tool. So that might look nice. So something like that. You might want to add like pleats or creases. So using the crease, you can go ahead and make some details in it. Again, this is more of a design thing if you want, and just try to go with like the curve of like what's happening. So I try to give it a little bit of a curve just to make it look a little more natural. Something like this. You can also take inflate. And again, this kind of stuff is a lot of work, but you can take inflate. Let's say you want these to be a little bit thicker. Whoop, not sub. You want these to be a little bit thicker. You can do that. Kind of make them a little more bubbly. Again, it's a lot more work, but you can do that if you wanted to. You can do sub, make it smaller, and you could do that in the middle, you know, if you wanted it to be a little bit deeper in the middle. So you can do something like that as well. I might make the top a little bit like thinner by just kind of pushing in. Maybe move is better. Pushing everything in until it's a little bit more flush with the body. Kind of like that. So I might use clay for wrinkles. You can also use a layer, and you can add a new layer, and maybe that's rinks, maybe up here where there's like this bend here. And then wherever these like little bends are, like I would just make like kind of like wrinkle marks, especially here. Maybe crease, and then add some wrinkle marks with clay. So it looks like the material's like bunching up. A little bit less showing underneath. Push that down a little bit. I got a very nice email that I've been wanting to respond to for a while, but yeah, that's how I would do it. And experiment with other tools, clay, inflate, crease. Remember, you have the sub as well, so that also changes how the tool works. So sometimes you have to figure out ways to get it exactly how you want, but essentially, this is how I would do a dress. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.